It's not what it looks like. I'm free to play. AMF rerun is coming? Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that though. Before I would have tried to get her S6, but I'm gonna have to wait till the second rerun because I want Jingron. I might go for her weapon though, because like her weapon is a decent jump, and especially at S3, it'd be more significant. Because what am I even using on her right now? EOG? Yeah, I'm using EOG. About 3 with VPN. Yeah, get a bit of a discount. It's a monthly pass only. That's still basically being free to play. Nah, I'm not like that. At that point, you're not free to play anymore. I've had this video discussion before. I think, what was it, like a year ago? Where I was like, maybe if you use characters slash limited items you obtained without using it with the premium currency you spent money on, at least for like running that specific setup, you could maybe be like, oh, this is a free to play team or a team I obtained free to play. But you can't call like your entire account free to play after you spend money, in my opinion. Because I remember, like, I think it was a year ago on my Herda account or something, where, like, I did spend money on the account, but then I didn't use any of the characters that slash items I spent money on to do a endgame clear with different teams. And I was like, this is a free to play clear. People were like, oh, it's not a free to play clear. It is a free to play clear. The account isn't free to play, but I didn't spend a fucking dime on these characters. Wait, why did I just do that? Well, whatever. Oh yeah, Jingron looks different with the 3D model now showing in his trailer than in his drip. There's more white hair than I thought. I'm like really curious what his animations are gonna look like because he doesn't have a conventional weapon, you know? Light spender, yeah, basically. Show us your store page, sure. Is this what you want to see? I haven't needed to spend money on this account because my luck has been disgusting on it. Outside of monthly passes, of course. S3 Ameth and S6 cart I got free to play. And then I spent on monthly pass after that because I was like, oh, I'm making this my new main Woo account. Because for those who don't know, this was originally an ult account. And my main account had like Augusta, it had Zanny, It had like a couple other DPSs, but my luck on my main account was, no offense, trash in comparison to this one where it's just insane luck. So I just switched to this one. And I have to waste these useless pulls. I mean, if I get an early Lucy, I guess I'd take it, but I doubt it. It's a free team if I get an early Lucy. Buling, the GOAT. Get the wallpaper or what? Well, that's it. Oh, that's my S6 Buling too. Okay. I'm pretty sure Buling is for HSIN as a free-to-play alternative for either the second or third slot. So that's actually not too bad. If in the future I want to invest in HSIN, which I doubt, but I mean, it's there. Ameth rerun and Yap Yap in the same patch? Yeah. Who do you think the after sales for Himiko is? I don't know. With the way Mortis worded his leaks, he was implying that it wasn't Robin, but someone later. So, I don't know. Like, genuinely. There isn't a single hint for, like, any Astral Express member that would go on her team. It could maybe end up being a surprise like I guess Evernight was. But I don't know who. Maybe the Navigator? Considering how much they've been talking about the Navigator recently. The old one. That'll make him a playable character? I don't know. I hope Jing Ron is as strong as Yang Yang, though. It's unlikely, but just for my own sake, I hope he gets the Yang Yang treatment in terms of damage. It would make his sequences more valuable. Would the Navigator replace Nova Sunday? Who said anything about replacing Nova Sunday? Why would you replace Nova Sunday? There's like a third slot on the team that is uncontested. Do you think the face of Wuthering Waves uh does that really matter? Like are people like trying to justify the power creep because it's Yang Yang? I guess. I don't know. That didn't even cross my head. How much stronger is she from Hiyuki Ameth? Uh, about 10% stronger than Hiyuki. And, hmm, 2.2 to 2.8, 600k. About 25% stronger than Ameth. With Sweet Sweet? Yeah. I'm pretty sure, yeah. No, not without, with Sweet Sweet. I can recheck right now. I have it like on demand basically here. I'm pretty sure it is with Sweet Sweet though. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so two feather rotation is 2.83, and I think Hiyuki with Sweet Sweet is like 2.5 something. Yeah, 2.55. Hshin is the first playable Sentinel? Yeah, I think so. Hshin will hit 4 mil. No. That's just like over exaggerative dooming. My guess is Hshin might hit 3 million. But even then, I don't know. Wuwa is inconsistent with its power creep. Like, for example, after this Yang Yang scenario, it's completely possible that like every team after this releases at 2.5 to 2.6 million damage again, just like Hiyuki. Or maybe it does increase, or maybe it stays stagnant. Like, it's basically impossible to predict. But 4 million to 5 million would never happen. That's just too much. This game can't handle it. Bro, why is this like... Oh. No, I don't watch movies. Endgame would be cooked? Yeah. Like, the older characters just wouldn't be able to keep up without S3 at that point. Jeez, I just can't get anything better than 2 rolls. Forgot about how harsh this game could be. Like, how does this game have a worse system than HSR? Is beyond me. Um, yeah, that's all I had. Fuck. Yeah, but what makes HSR easier is golden resin and the my bad. What makes HSR easier is crafting and the fact that you can generate more relics from your trash ones. I've been stuck trying to get like a really good set of Ameth Echo set for like the past few months, which sucks. But like my Phanon, for example, on my Phanon account, yeah, it's still just as much assery, but I at least get something back from the dog shit that I'm getting so that I can get more dog shit and then eventually I get something that isn't dog shit. You can also do that in Woowa. How? I can use my previous dog shit echoes to get new echoes. You can change main stat. I'm sorry, but that is nowhere near the same thing. That is not even close to the same thing. Like, main stats is the easy thing to get in this game because you can farm overworld mobs every day. It's the substats. And the substat rerollers they do have cost coral. You can trash some Wua relics to get the set you want. Isn't there like a limit on it though? I remember the QOL change, but I remember there being a limit on it. It's only like 5 or 10 echoes, and then you have to wait another week for it to reset. Yeah, I know. I know. Like, I was playing the game when they added that shit. I mean, the main stat selector would be good if you could use it after you've already leveled up in Echo. Because then you could roll on whatever Echo main stat it has, wait until you get really good substat rolls for your character, and then change the main stat. But the way the main stat selector is just mid. And then the substat selector, although more valuable, it's like expensive as fuck. Like how much is it? Like 30 coral if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's 30 coral each. I could see Wua adding that in the future. I don't. Just because of how good it'd be. Like, that would make the main stat selector more valuable than the substat selector. But the main stat selector is a lot more accessible. They probably wouldn't appreciate that. I've already known about the March 7th Himeko shenanigans for a while. It's been a thing since like early version beta. It was one of her infinite loops. I already know that her skill multiplier is bugged. Don't spam it. I've already known for a few versions at this point. You gonna play ZZZ again for Ramiel? No, I don't care about Ramiel. It's Sunbringer or nothing. I think Gilga is actually a better support slash buff than Rin to Archer. You think? That isn't even like something you should have to think of. He is. I already saw some calcs from some people. Bro, he makes Saber's team like nearly 3x as strong in total DPAV. And he's free. It's not even using his E1 either. His E1's like a 30% buff for the team. Rin is good for Archer, but Rin is like a 40% buff for Archer. In comparison to that massive, disgusting buff that Gilga is for Saber. Don't rage bait Summer, I'm not in the mood for it. There's no point in trying to agenda post like this when you know they're getting Nova Sunday. Sunday Nova is the most future rail thing ever. Weren't you the person trying to agenda post that Himeko wouldn't be a DPS and she'd be a Thirda buff? And you're over here trying to criticize future rail, which in reality is like the most obvious buff ever. Good night, Burley. Yeah. Like you can't say future rail to something that is literally inevitable and is going to happen no matter what. Buffs get buffed. He's an energy regen support. He has action advance. The only thing you can even slightly question is, oh, the only thing that isn't obvious is his buffs become team wide. But he already has it in currency wars that his buffs are team wide. Guys, Sunday, he can just get changed to be a team buffer like Sparkle. It's not that hard to imagine. Nova Flares don't change the archetype? My brother, in Christ. They literally changed Sparkle's E2 from being an ST buff to being a team-wide buff. Like, and they made it significantly more accessible and then tied it to Sparkle herself instead of the enemies just to make it work for her team. Yeah, exactly. Literally everything that Saber benefits from Sunday, Sunday doesn't even need to be directed for her. Himiko benefits from this as well. From every buff Sunday gets, and his ult becoming team wide. Because team wide energy gain means more ult spam, means more follow ups for Himiko. E2, not the base kit? Brother, like you're just being dense on purpose. Holy shit. It's always like the foresight issue with HSR players, man. Like if it's not right in front of their face, they think it's like impossible. You guys are making correlations between things that don't even correlate to each other to try and guess for why Sunday's team wide buff wouldn't become team wide and why he'd stay single target forever. It's just beyond me, bro. Like there's zero correlation for like 90% of the shit being brought up. I mean tactician, bro. Like Himiko is an energy DPS. Legit, her entire team is reliant on generating energy and her having energy. Like, why do you think a sub. Why do you think a non main push teammate for Himiko is not going to have an energy ult when the only non energy ult characters in this game are all main pushes? Like, just think. Even Evernight on Cassie's team has an energy ult. Hibiko's a main push, though. I can't. I can't. I'm sick of you people. Holy shit. I'm not dealing with this every single day. It's getting miserable. You're falling for the rage bait? Oh my god. It's not rage bait to be an annoying prick every single day I stream. Oh, you can't just disguise you being an absolute idiot and ignoring my warnings a million times every single time with, oh, he's just rage baiting, bro. Like, I'm not just gonna sit here and take it because my chat is like, oh, it's rage bait. I don't fucking care if it's rage bait. Like, I feel like my chat has like the mental capacity of children so often. Actually, I shouldn't say chat. That's generalizing. But like, bro, come on, just use your brains. People nowadays are so miserable. That's what I'm saying. Like, how have I been doing consistent streaming for over 2 years and it's only now that my chat suddenly has like multiple people who are this frustrating to deal with? I just don't think Robin is for Himiko. I mean, to be fair, M-Blade isn't an Acheron after sales. Like, they obviously made some of his kit in mind with Acheron, but like, he's much more a Fua after sales who benefits Acheron. Would they really miss out on a Sunday Robin team together? It doesn't matter. Like, what does this have to do with anything? Like, yeah, it'd be cool, but like, nobody's thinking about this. Waiting in anticipation and about to be ready to drop thousands of dollars if they're on the same team together. Like, quite commonly, this game will put characters who don't even know each other on best in slot teams, like Acheron and Jiaoqiu. The entire Elation flagship being characters that never interact with each other? Yeah, exactly. Like, it just doesn't matter that much. You shouldn't be using that as, like, your main thing for, like, yeah, this is definitely gonna happen. Herda, Sparksine, Sparkle. Exceptions don't make the rule. Like, I just don't. Like, with this logic, you'd be able to predict every future team to ever be released depending on the story relevance to the character. You know? Cyrene for the ears. I mean, once a set, like, that's obvious though, you know? Like, that's like the most. That was leaked like multiple patches before she even released. And it was just obvious with the way she was going. There's been nothing for Sunday and Robin being on the same team. Himiko's like that too? Yes, but like, she's literally created for it. Like, her entire kit revolves around having Astral Express characters. We're just saying sometimes it's possible. Yeah, but I never said that sometimes it isn't possible. I already said like 10 minutes ago it's exceptions but not the rule. Like, when you look at Robin and Sunday, bro, these two aren't interacting in the slightest. They might interact in like 3.5 when we go to Astropolis, but there's been no leaks of synergy together. They're meant for completely different teams according to the leakers. So very clearly the kit isn't really intended to synergize with these other ones. Sunday is Robin's brother? Dude, I'm talking about the Plan Arcadia storyline, in which that is where Nova Sunday is and Robin SP is releasing. I'm not talking about fucking Penacony interactions. Robin SP plus Sunday could work after Sunday Nova. You guys will never learn. They literally made sure. Like, this is the one path of characters in the entirety of the game that Sunday is utter dog shit for. Because the game went out of their way to nerf him in it. And you think he's gonna be like this good ass support with Robin. Like, you could have chosen any other path character, and we're banking on the fact that he's best in slot for a remembrance one. You're acting like Robin SP is going to be a DPS. Even if she's a support, she's likely going to be a memo support. Because it was leaked that supposedly she is similar to RMC, but more niche in that she gives action advances depending on the amount of memo sprite actions. Like, does Sunday have memo sprite actions? And she was leaked to have every team with Evernight. What team do you use Evernight with Sunday with? You get what I'm saying here? Like, where does Sunday fit in Remembrance teams? Mortis was the one who said EMC can replace Yao Guang. When did Mortis make a leak like that? I don't remember him making a single leak about that. The one leak that he was wrong about meta-wise was saying that Sparksy was a main DPS when she was clearly a sub DPS. And then he clarified himself like a week later anyways. Evernight is a memo buffer. Sunday could be a third slot. How do you fit Robin, Sunday, and Evernight on the same team without dying for their main DPS? Test team Sparksy Yao Huohuo or Sparksy EMC Huohuo. That's what he leaked. What does what? How do you get that he said you can replace Yao Guang with EMC when in reality all he was doing was leaking the internal beta test? There's no correlation. This happens on every new character release. He was just leaking the beta test teams, not saying that Yao Guang can, that EMC can replace Yao Guang. Oh my god. Why is there 5 characters in that team? Robin's a DPS if she works with Sunday. Ay, Dios mío. Can we just like, let's just move on, bro. Like, my chat is sometimes filled with the craziest conspiracy theorists of all time. But I mean, if you want to cook that up, cook it up, man. Sunday Forever Night? No, my chat wants to prove me wrong. And it's just a contrarian thing with my chat usually. So now they're trying to like be like, oh, Sunday could be best in slot for Robin. And I'll be wrong about Robin's teams. No. Or that like, oh, Sunday can synergize with Robin, so Robin goes on a Himeko team. And now they're moving and saying that she's a DPS. What if she's not a support? She's a DPS. There's been like 3 or 4 different things brought up so far. Let's take sides and bet $10,000 on Robin's role. Robin is not going to be a DPS. Brother, we gotten Silverwolf and Evanesia, 2 main DPSs. Mblade finally a support. Himeko main DPS. Rin and Gilga sub DPSs capable of main DPS. 4.5 Avon main DPS. You think they're adding another main DPS instead of a support? All SPs change their roles. I mean, she could be a small sub DPS. Also, not all SPs change their roles, because you have small Herda to big Herda, same path, same element, same goated impure fiction DPS. Yeah, same with Himeko Nova. Both standard Himeko and Himeko Nova. Same thing with Thirda. Evernight can be her own main. Like, Evernight beats Cassie as a main DPS. Evernight is currently the strongest Remembrance DPS in the game. Like, Evernight doesn't need someone to carry her. In fact, like, Evernight is getting held back. She's stuck with RMC. There's no vertical investment in RMC because he's a free character. If you make Robin a premium version of RMC, but more niche towards buffing memo sprites, the same way Evernight is with buffing memo sprites, then Evernight just becomes the top main DPS or one of the top in the game currently. You don't need to make a new DPS to make mono rem better again. Exactly. Like if Evernight had a premium RMC with its own vertical investment, she'd be far and away better than Cassie. Like the conversations people have now of like, oh, it can depend or whatever. Like there'd be absolutely zero conversation if she had a limited unit to replace RMC. I mean, I'd take getting a new HP healer because I like my mono rem account has E2S1 Cassie and E2S1 Evernight. So then you could just run Cassie with like RMC plus M Blade, and then you could run Evernight with the premium team and that new HP scaling sustain, and you'd be able to split them up. But until they make two HP scaling sustains, not yet. We could get a Rem DPS and Robin. I just don't see it, man. Like, that's not what the Rem teams need. They need someone to get rid of RMC. They don't need another DPS. There's already two of them. It's just like, and then they're already releasing a ton of DPSs consecutively currently. It's dumb from a sales perspective. People are gonna pull significantly more if Robin is a meta support for like memo sprites than they are for a fucking third, fourth remembrance DPS. Especially since she's leaked as HP scaling. So you know, like, are people gonna sacrifice their fucking Evernights and Monorem Cassies to suddenly become bots for Robin? No. Like some people will, but the majority will just refuse to. It's terrible. Exactly, Verly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like everybody already has like E2 Cassie. They have E2 Evernight. They have like all this shit. Like it's just unlikely that they'd make Robin another Remembrance DPS to replace either of the two. I think she's just a support. To be honest, I think what's going to happen is Robin might still be a Cassie upscale too, but she's just more of an upscale for Evernight because Evernight values action advance way more than Cassie does. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is what makes Evernight so good with RMC. She just values action advance way more. Like she really eats off of it. You think Robin SP will work with Sunday? It can be indirect. I don't think it's gonna be direct in the slightest. No. Like, it could be a Nova Sparkle situation, right? Nova Sparkle is so good with such potent buffs, even given for free. You can run her technically on like nearly every team in this game. And especially because of the skill point positivity, making rotations completely smooth, it's really nice, even if it isn't best in slot. But I don't see like him being actually best in slot for Robin, no. I just don't see that happening personally. Summer. Brother, stop. Like, dude, please. I'm actually going to ban you. I'm being dead serious. Like, how do I just time you out for 10 minutes? I tried to explain to you, stream and stream again, and your first message is just doing the same shit again. I'm just expressing my opinion. Then express your opinion without being over exaggeratively doom posting or disingenuous. Like, please. Just be normal. Like, holy shit. I'm saying unlikely they can make a new DPS that can expand on Everknight's buff. Bro, what buff are you talking about? Everknight doesn't have a single restrictive buff. What buff are we talking about here? All her buffs are just straight up crit damage buffs from Memo Sprites. Or with her Lycone and early investment, original damage increases in defense shred. There's no restriction on it, other than having a Memo Sprite. The Rem Care buff? Yeah. What about it? Any Memo Sprite character can take advantage of it. Robin's just like... If you guys want to believe that she's a main DPS, go ahead, man. Please. Fuck. I think they'll go down the M-Blade route. M-Blade does like fuck all for damage outside of his ult. M-Blade's just a new age tribby. People glaze the personal damage for a few patches till that HP inflation hits enough, and then his follow-ups aren't even tickling 1% of the boss. Guild mains, some of the phoniest mains I've ever seen. That no, that applies to literally every mains when their character is in beta. Is usually when they're the most pathetic. I don't have him. I just see so many good clears with him. I thought his damage was also decent. He's just a tribby, is all it is. His follow up damage is trash in his intended teams. It just doesn't add all that much. And then his ult is basically the only big damage that he does. But the ult is heavily reliant on high targets. In lower target scenarios, it just massively falls. Which is why I say he's like Tribby. Like, Tribby's personal damage was glazed a lot alongside Hyacine with the wheelchair at the beginning. People were like, oh, these guys are must pulls because they do damage plus buff. But, like, Tribby's damage these days is garbage. Like, you don't even tickle 1% of a boss anymore. I like how we're buffing Mono Rem while Thurda's dead in a ditch. Well, Thurda doesn't make them as much money as Mono Rem. So, it's the same logic with the Nova Flares. The Nova Flares aren't to buff from weakest to strongest. It's just to buff characters that would be good for the current upcoming meta. That'll make them a good amount of money too. Like by Novaing Sunday, not only is it technically intended for Himiko, who's a main push, you also buff a shit ton of other teams because of how generalist energy buffing is. So you get Saber teams, you get Aglaya, you get a bunch of older characters. Dill's supposed to get his buff. What was it like? Dill and Jing Yuan? Yeah. Dill and Jing Yuan alongside Acheron are planned for the paid buffs this version. And both of their teams would use Nova Sunday. So, like, you see? That's why Nova Sunday is such a big deal to them. They can use him to get a ton of people into different teams and spend more money on their characters. Same logic as Nova Sparkle. Though, to be honest, Sunday's Nova makes them even more money than Nova Sparkle, in my opinion. He has way more teams. Is Himiko supposed to get after sales? Yes. According to Anon, it's not Robin, but it's someone else somewhere in the version that we don't know of yet. He just wanted to be mysterious and then he stopped leaking, so. Do I just end the stream? I forgot his Himiko. Oh, I already read that. Mortis is weird on what he's posting. Um, I'm pretty sure it's because he started taking a break from leaking after Luna, I think, quit. It's not Robin, then who is? Brother, there's still two characters who haven't been leaked. We only know of Pearl for 4.6, and then we only know of Nihilux for 4.7. Nobody knows of the other two characters that are supposed to release each on the patch. Like, guys, we didn't know that Evernight was even gonna be a thing until like 2 patches before she released. Because there was a design leak that was on the leaks Reddit, and even then, like, most people were saying, oh, I don't even believe in this leak, this concept design. It looks fake as shit. It looks mid. And then it ended up being real when people saw it in the next patch through the story trailer. Like, it's not possible for us to know literally every character that is releasing, like, this far ahead every time. 'We knew March SP? No, they were blacked out in the drip market. People weren't completely sure of who it was. A lot of people were assuming Evernight was Ceridra at the time for some weird reason. That one was kind of dumb. They were like, oh, it's like someone else. It's like, bro, Ceridra's right there, man. 4.6 will have another relation? No. It was leaked that 4.6 has two elation. One is Pearl. And then afterwards, Sakura Haven clarified that they believe the other relation character on 4.6 is just an EMC kit upgrade. The same way they did for RMC and Amphorius. So it doesn't need to be duo elation releasing on 4.6. The problem is every single character in the game has received better treatment than Herda. Yeah, true, George. People still say Herda's a main push. I mean, it's just an agenda thing. She's not a main push. Everybody's already aware of it. There's only 3 main pushes per version, and you can just tell by the special treatment they receive. See you later, Steel. Third, I got 2 after sales. That has nothing to do with being a main push, man. Ashvale is getting 2 after sales. W main push. The lowest selling character in HSR history, a main push. Let's go, boys. What a goat. What do you think about the future of Elation? They're fine. Asheville's a pre-sale and a sub DPS? What about it? So are you gonna say Avon is a main push now? Because he's the main DPS of the team? And he got 2 sales? Third, I got 2 catered teammates. And what is Avon getting? With Mblade and Ashvale as a FUA DPS for the FUA team with his FUA supports. Is he getting fucking graham crackers? Tell me why Anoxa's erudition trace exists. What does this have anything to fucking do with after sales supports? What are we doing? Oh my god, man. Where's Herda's special energy mechanic? It doesn't even exist. There's always something unique with every single main push in this game. You need to understand this. With Acheron, it was the special ult gimmick and Nihility synergy. For Firefly, it was introducing Super Break. For Fei Xiao, it was using Fua stacks as her ult. For Cassie, it was regenerating HP. For Phanon, it was getting targeted by allies. And for Cyrene, it was Memo Sprites and allies taking action to stack her ultimate. What does Thurda have? Nothing unique. Nothing special. She just generates normal ass energy. She doesn't introduce a new damage mechanic. She didn't get the same treatment as the 3 main pushes from version 3. Like, come on, just use your brain. For Thurda, it's AoE attacks. Thurda generates energy even if it isn't AoE attacks. Like, what the fuck is this correlation? Even Firefly uses energy? Yes, but Firefly is a super break DPS. The first super break DPS in the game. She introduced as the main DPS of a new damage type, which is unique. Thirda got after sales? It doesn't matter. Holy fuck. It doesn't matter. Getting after sales does not make you a main push. Holy shit. Okay, Summer. I'm sorry you just have to get gone. I'm sorry. I can't deal with this, bro. Like, so fucking annoying, man. Just to let you guys know, this is the 5th time, at least, that he's brought this shit up, by the way, across multiple different streams, where I've had to re-explain to him this exact same thing of why Herda isn't a main push 5 times. 5 different times. And he's still... this is exactly why I ban him. This is exactly why. And then people are like, oh, you're too harsh. You're too harsh. Just let him have a different opinion. Bro thinks Emanator equals main push. I mean, it's just not how it is. Sunday almost became an Eon. And he wasn't even a main push. I mean, he was good, but... No, exactly. It's false info. It's not just a difference in opinion. It literally just isn't real. She's not a main push. Like, literally, the difference between her and Cassie is 2 patches. You're telling me that they magically came up with special wishing animations 2 patches in between Herda and Cassie, and they couldn't do it for Herda? Yeah, like, emanators aren't what make main pushes in this game anymore. Like, you can be an emanator, you're just not a main push. It's clear usually when they're main pushes. Like Himiko, Silverwolf, and Nihilux in the future. Like, I've predicted Nihilux is a main push since she got dripped. You know? Like, after she got moved from the early patches to the later patches, I was like, low-key, I'm going to put my bets on her being a main push. You can tell by the design, the way they treat her in the story, her future potential, possible links to being Aha. Like, and guess what? She's probably the main push, you know? Like, main pushes are usually obvious. I mean, it's fine for people to want to buffer Herda. It's just that, like, there's no point in trying to spread misinformation about her, you know? To try and, like, agenda post buffs for her. Like, I've already been saying, there's, like, a 99% chance that Argenti Nova is targeted towards Thirda. It might not be great. It may be good. I don't know how it's gonna go. But I can almost bet my, like, everything on it that he's supposed to be a Thirda buff. At least temporarily. The Herda worse than Seal at Pure Fiction? Yeah. Seal's only issue is HP inflation. But so long as she can kill enemies consistently enough, she'll be able to get basically infinite extra turns off of small mobs. So it makes her a goat at Pure Fiction. We don't need an Argentine Nova, we need a Nova to Herda. I mean, she will get a Nova eventually, but like, no offense, you can't expect Herda to get a Nova before Acheron. You know? Respectfully. Acheron's getting that buff way before Herda gets that buff. Herda's buff is probably in like version 5 with the rest of the Ampho characters. So Argenti's probably going to be like a temporary buff just to get you through the version until her Nova hits. Acheron got Emblade. Did you not just hear what I said? We're talking about the character getting buffed. Directly. Acheron's gonna get the Firefly treatment. She got a new best in slot support, and then she's gonna get her buff later in this version after a few patches. Same thing as Firefly from Dahlia 2. Wait, actually, it's the same, no? Wait, I swear it's literally the same weight. Because she gets Dahlia, and then 3 patches later, she gets her direct buff. Acheron gets Emblade. Nova Flares should be 4.6, which is 3 patches after Emblade, where she gets her new buff. So yeah, they're gonna treat Acheron the same way they treated Firefly's buff in terms of teammate and direct buff. Jiaoqiu also getting a Nova, yeah. To be honest, like they might make Jiaoqiu for Dot maybe, so it doesn't benefit Acheron as much. But depending on that Jiaoqiu Nova, Acheron might actually get more buffs than Firefly, which would be funny. What about Fei Xiao? Fei Xiao came later than Acheron and Firefly, so she'll obviously take longer than her buff. That's just how it goes. The later you were released, the longer you have to wait for your Nova. Also, Novaing Fei Xiao is kind of dumb for them right now because they're trying to sell a Fua main DPS team. So if you Nova Fei Xiao, people are just going to completely ignore Avon. Oh, really? Suffer. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have a bit of a hard time believing that Jiaoqiu is gonna be a sustain. His buffs may be terrible for a support these days, but for a sustain, 35% vulnerability, total 50% if you do ultimate damage, seems a bit I mean, maybe that's just the strength of New Age sustains. Who knows? Maybe. And he's like a sneak peek. Hello, Kiwi. I was scrolling on TikTok and someone said there's no power creep in HSR because herd of all people is clearing. I mean, I do think that a lot of Doom posting is over exaggerated in this game because if your goal is just 5 cycle clear per team, you know, uh, a 1300 AV clear in APOC, stuff like that, 20k in pure fiction just for one team, 40k on another, like you're technically clearing. I'm not at all trying to say the game has no power creep though, but a lot of people, especially in my community and just in HSR in general, estimate character strength off of low cost 0 cycles and then are surprised when they see people are like clearing fine with older characters on low investment, but that's because they just care about clearing in 5 cycles. It's really just the meta focused people that care a lot about 0 cycles. I'm doing decent, Kiwi, thank you. Hope you're doing well. Is E2 Himiko a bigger jump than Phanon? Nah, it's like the same. Phanon's jump is bigger against more targets. I think on the same level against 3 targets. And against lower targets is slightly weaker in comparison to Himiko's. So they're like the exact same level. It's not bigger than Phanon's. I got an E2 Fae on my ult account. He got 24k in pure fiction on E0 and now 24k in the first cycle with E2. A slight difference. Yeah, it's in pure fiction especially, it's the biggest jump in the game because he can now counter meteor extra turn, use counter on the extra turn. Now you have enough for a meteor again, another extra turn, and then you just keep counter meteor spamming. They need to make Pearl a lot better than E2 Hyacine. I'm telling you right now, the devs don't even need to try to make a character better than E2 Hyacine for Elation. They could make like a Dawn Hung PT level sustain again, but just make them Elation, and that would be better than Hyacine because they synergize with the gimmicks. What they need is much more than like an E2 to be equal with E2 Hyacine on their team. They need a lot more than that. They need speed buffs, a bit of personal damage, elation skill that generates resources, a useful ult for the team, some type of elation buffing possibly, extending certified banger buff. There's a lot of things you can do. Like, for example, extending certified banger buff alone would be an insane upscale for Silver Wolf. A disgusting one. Just that one slight change. It would be nice if Pearl was given for free like Don Hung PT. Oh yeah, I forgot to make a video on my guess for the next free character. I think they're gonna do personally another 4.0 selector, but this time Sunday is gonna be on it with his Nova. Not gonna lie. I think that's what the 4.6 free character is going to be. It's going to be a selector with some of the more later units from Penacony. And like Zhang Zhou with like Fei Xiao and stuff. But Sunday Nova is going to be on it. The reason I think this is, I kind of mentioned it a bit. I mentioned it a bit earlier in the stream. Giving free Sunday makes them so much money because Sunday is such a good generalist character in the game, and now he's like back to being the best in the energy teams over Sparkle again. You get people re-enticed into pulling Saber Gilga, right? Like if someone chose Gilga, now they also get Nova Sunday for free. Oh, I might as well pull Saber, right? I might as well pull Himiko. I might as well get Dill with this new buff because Dill and Jing Yuan are both leaked to receive buffs according to Anon this version. Those are two DPSs that use Sunday quite well. So like stuff like that, I think Sunday Nova has a high chance of being free because he'd make them a lot of money. Keep in mind, Sunday has already been re-ran 3 times. So like they've already made their portion of money off the guy. I wouldn't be surprised if they just let him go at this point. Do you think Sunday will go in the golden shop? No, not at all. No, his Eidolons are too good if they get reworked. His Lycone is also still really good as well. It's going to be a repeat of Sparkle? Yeah, that's how I see it going down as well. There is a chance he's not free, right? Like, I wouldn't get my hopes up and think that this is basically guaranteed. But of all my current guesses for the free limited character in 4.6, if there is one, Sunday just makes the most sense in my opinion, considering what they did with Nova Sparkle. Sunday Eidolons are too good. If they remove the summon restriction on his E1, that shit is stronger than E2 Sparkle at E1. What would you prefer, free Pearl or free Nova Sunday? Nova Sunday. Sunday just has way more use cases like a Sparkle. It's much better to make someone like that free. Free Pearl is like your only choices is investing in elation teams to take advantage of that free Pearl. But free Sunday, even if he's not best in slot, that's someone you can use in like every team in the game. A new sustain is always broken, not just for their archetype in general. Eh. Eh. I don't rate an E0 S0 Hyacine that highly outside of REM teams. Like, she has good sustain capability, but that's basically her only selling point outside of the team she was made for. Is just her sustain capability. Her damage is really too low these days. Like, I still rated Huohuo back then when we had no Huohuo Nova as a better generalist sustain than Hyacine. Same with Gala, because at least he had SP positivity if you could live. Yeah. I don't, that's why I have my opinion on Pearl. Like, Pearl could be usable generally, but I bet like 80% of her kit is going to be locked towards her relation teams. So at that point, I'd much rather a free Nova Sunday. Sunday better not cause infinite loop issues. I don't think he can. The thing with Sunday, okay, the origin of all infinite ult loops is a team where everybody can get resources from teammates without actually taking their own turn, right? That's the origin cause of like 99% of ult loops. You have someone else on the team generating resources for someone else who hasn't taken a turn, and then you get all these zero AV shenanigans. Sunday doesn't have this, right? Like, even if they massively buff his energy regen capabilities on his ult, no matter what, it's going to take him like 3 turns in order for him to get his ultimate ever again. So, because Sunday isn't a character who benefits from allies doing anything really, he can't really activate an infinite ult loop, in my opinion. I just don't see it happening. It's the same thing with Huohuo. Both Huohuo and Sunday, like, they need to take multiple turns before they ever get their ultimate again. I'd high key select E1 Aglaya and Ampho selector because she's just sitting there looking pretty on my account. Um, I feel like 99% of people, if they got an Ampho selector, the 3 main characters they'd get Eidolons for would just be Cyrene, Evernight, and Phanon, no? It's probably those 3. Evernight's E1 is busted, Phanon puts you closer to his E2, and Cyrene puts you closer to her E2. What the heck was that? Tribby? Good point. I guess Tribby E1. When did I even get this many pulls? I have 10 right now? Do I have pity on the weapon banner for Ameth? Barely. Eh. Maybe I don't get Ameth's weapon. Cypher? What about her? Cypher is a top contender for being the first Ampho character to go in the Golden Token shop. I'm not gonna lie. She's like a pretty good contender. Not getting a main DPS weapon in WUA when it has a guarantee is just... I mean, you need to understand I want to prioritize S3 Jing Ron. And Jing Ron is like... I mean, how long is it until 3.5? Like 13 days? And then one patch later, it's 3.6 with Jing Ron. Like, I don't have that much time to save for S3. I mean, if I relied on good luck, yeah. But that's luck, you know? Jing Ron will rerun sooner than Ameth? Yeah, but my Ameth's already S3. Like, I'm not trying to wait that long to make Jing Ron playable solo for his rerun. By the time Jing Ron reruns, it's legit gonna be version 4 for WUWA. I am not waiting that long, respectfully. I've never looked into Cypher Eidolons. Are they any good? I don't think so. Her mainly good Eidolons for increasing her buffing capability, if I remember, was her E1 and E6. But like unironically, her Lycone is more valuable than any of her Eidolons, I'm pretty sure. Her E... Was it the E1 or E2? I think it was the E1. The E1 used to massively buff her follow-up attacks in a certain beta, but then they got rid of that, so... But I don't know. I could be misremembering. Jing Ron solo is going to be ass tactician. I'm not getting his teammates. Um... Lua characters are usually ass solo if they don't have their S3 outside of shield. No teammates? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Cypher's E1, the true damage tally gets increased by 50%, and then she gives herself an 80% attack buff when she does a Fuwa. E2, when Cypher hits an enemy, there's a 120% base chance to increase their vulnerability by 30%. Okay, the E2 isn't bad, but it has this trash restriction that she needs to have hit the enemy. So you'd probably want to use skill so that you hit 3 enemies, but even then, yeah. Like if you're in a 5 target scenario, it's literally impossible unless you have incredibly, like, how should I say this? Unless you have very fast ult frequency to apply this to all enemies on field. E4, oh, holy shit, this sucks. Um, E6, damage dealt by the follow-up attack from Cypher's talent. Okay, here it is. So this is actually good for her personal damage. Um, during the tally, an additional 16% of non-overflow damage. Okay, so there's 16% more of a buff towards her true damage mechanic. Her Fua does 3.5x the damage, and she retains 20% of her damage tally after using ultimate. So E2 isn't bad, but its restriction is kind of stupid. E1 is kind of mid, and then E6 is good, but it's an E6, so. Gabby doesn't even remember Cypher's beta? Yeah, sure. You Doom posted so much, and rightfully so. The fuck? You think I've changed my mind since then? I still stand by it. They treated Cypher terribly in that beta in comparison to Hyoscene. I still remember, like, the consecutive videos I'd make every single version because I was so invested in her. Like, why is a sub DPS losing in terms of sub DPS to a sustain for mono rem? And then her vertical investment was also worse than Hyoscene's for her best team. The true damage mechanic couldn't count overflow and couldn't synergize with E1 Tribi or any true damage. Like, if, for example, let's say you have RMC on a team with Cypher, right? And RMC is getting his max buff output depending on how much energy your ult cap is. So you're getting 50% true damage from RMC, right? All the true damage buff from RMC cannot contribute to Cypher's ultimate. It's the dumbest thing ever. Not only does it not count overkill damage, but it doesn't synergize with other true damage buffers. So fuck Cyrene, fuck RMC, and fuck E1 Tribi. Some of the strongest supports in that entire version. You Doom posted Cypher so much? Yeah, I did. What about it? Was I wrong? The fuck? It's not like she's useless, but they treated her terribly. I knew she was not going to be best in slot for like any team but Archers. And even now, like that's just been taken by Rin now. Rin is just better. Now, she's a generalist buffer, so like technically she still holds value, right? It's like a Ruan Mei situation. Ruan Mei has at this point in time been vastly outclassed by the newest generalist supports like Mblade. It's not even close. But like because she's a generalist support, she technically still has value. If for example you have a team that isn't completely finished yet, you just put her in there and she's like temporarily there, right? until you get something better. Or like APOC or Firefly teams. But she's just so mid. She's the definition of mid. Like 99% of Cypher clears is just people intelligently taking advantage of her damage tally and using it to bypass like damage reduction states against bosses. But like at this point, Emblade is so much stronger and Welt is so much stronger than Cypher that I don't even see like these smart Cypher clears anymore. People just go for the stronger buffers now because they're that much better despite Cypher's mechanic. Yeah. Also, Cypher was like kind of similar to an Emblade situation, but I always say this when it comes to the first half of version 3, you can tell that Hoyo had zero clue how to make sub DPSs, right? They had zero clue. They didn't know what they were doing. So, Cypher, when you really think about it, is just a vastly worse attempt at what is today's Emblade. She's supposed to be an Acheron buff. She's also supposed to be a bit of a Fua buff. And she's kind of best in slot for Archer. But when you compare the strength and like how valuable she is to Emblade current day, it's not even close. All Emblade has received is Endless Glaze, and all she received was Endless Dooming. You know? Like, Blade actually has some personal damage to back it up, and his buffs, and his unique gimmicks for both Fua and Acheron. Hi, I'm a re. Sorry, I had a burp. I'm a returnee HSR player and I didn't claim any free units besides Ratio. Should I claim Archer or Gilgamesh? Um, that's kind of hard to answer, not gonna lie. Because you haven't gotten free Nova Sparkle. And you haven't gotten a free baseline Archer either, so you're technically starting from zero on both teams. I'd say it just comes down to like who you like more, to be honest. Gilgamesh's team is with Saber, while Archer's team is with Rin. I think in the future that Sunday will get buffed and he will be a good teammate for Saber, putting that team on the same level as Archer's. So meta wise, I think there's going to be no difference anyways in the future. It's just whichever characters you like more. If you like Saber and Gilgamesh more, I'd go for that one. If you like Archer and Rin more, then I'd go for Archer and Rin. I have E2 S1 M Blade. I put all my current pulls on him. Oh, damn. Nice. Well, if you have E2 M Blade, the team that would most benefit between those two Fate teams is Gilgamesh's. I'm not going to lie. Because they're both ultimate DPSs. While Archer and Rin are skilled DPSs. M Blade's E2 is much more potent with ultimate characters. Not gonna lie. Unless you're planning to pull the Gilgamesh team separately and then have M-Blade with the Fua team. I don't know. If you're trying to make two separate teams, I guess not, but you can go either or. Thanks for the advice, no problem. LARPing riding the bike. How do I LARP riding the bike? I'm riding it. There's no LARP. Look at Abby on there. Yeah, the Fate Manors last forever too, basically. I don't think they're ever going to disappear at this point. I'm going to focus more on the Fua for the main DPS for M-Blade. Maybe Ashvale 1 cost on rerun. Understandable. Yeah. Then I'd probably just do RMC with Saber and Gilgamesh then. Temporarily. If that's what you decide to go for over Archer. Oh, right, Solus. Yeah, I'll send it to you after the stream. Get HSIN? Hell no. Fuck no. I'm good. Are DPS reruns in a better spot now? Nah, not really. Well, there's two things that make DPS reruns better than how they used to be. These days, main DPSs consistently have good E1s and E2s. And on top of this, the existence of Nova Flares, depending on how popular of a character you invest into, the more likely they are to receive a Nova / teammate buff in the future, like you see currently with Acheron and Firefly. Because, like, for example, someone can be like, oh my god, a full E0 S1 Silverwolf team loses to a full E0 S1 Himiko team. But then Silverwolf's rerun comes around, you can grab her E1, and now your Silverwolf team is automatically stronger, you know? You can do the same thing with Himiko, but the point kind of gets across. It's easier to deal with power creep and HP inflation now, because vertical investment across the board is valuable. Like, if you go back to fucking version 2 and some version 3 characters like a Noxa, that vertical investment is trash. Like, it's genuinely garbage. Did Kuro just put a rerun of all 1.x characters? Not all. I believe it's missing SK and Camellia. But I believe the rest, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, you look at Monorem, right? Oh, there's new power creep. Let me get E2 Evernight. Bam. You know? Oh, there's new power creep. Let me get E1 and S1 Hyacine. Oh, there's new power creep, let me get E2 Cyrene. Oh, there's new power creep, let me get Robin SP. Like, you can just adapt. You can evolve by just getting like one or two costs into something new. And then you're good again for like another 6 months to a year. Can I do M-Blade, RMC, Gilgamesh, Whoa? Who should I swap with Saber? Yeah, that works. Oh, you're asking who you swap with Saber? It would be RMC. You'd run Gilgamesh with Saber, Blade, and Whoa. Thank you, no problem. They could have just made a selector. I mean, Uwa isn't that like known for free characters. They only did it because of a collab recently. I mean, it is cheaper to get characters in Wuwa. So that's probably why they're more scared of giving free characters, because then they feel like it's too easy and they make less money. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's pretty obvious that they want to make more money from Wuwa than what they have been. Because the increase in power creep, it's not like anything otherworldly, but the increase in power creep in like the last few patches for Wuwa is not normal for this game ever. Like, this is the first this has ever happened so fast. I think they're trying to test, like, does power creep create them more revenue? And if it does, they're just going to continue it more often. They're basically doing the HSR method, you know? We can just call it that. Or at least I can call it that. Because I'm more familiar with HSR. It's the HSR method. I love how Gabby has neutral opinions. Believe it or not, I started this channel with Wuwa, and I didn't ever play HSR at the time. And I made like my first 1,000 subs off of Wuwa videos. Like, I might mainly play HSR these days, but like, I still think Wuwa is the best gacha game. I just like HSR more because it appeals to me a lot more. I'm the target audience for HSR in terms of like convenience, right? Ease of understanding, autoplay, very well optimized for mobile. There's a lot of things going for HSR that are just so convenient for me in my life, which Wuwa doesn't have. But I think Wuwa is the better game. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, to be fair, HSR had power creep and HP inflation issues, most notably a rise in version 2. And back then, they didn't give any free characters. Like in version 2, the only thing we got free character wise was like a standard selector back then. So most people just chose Branya, but that was kind of it. It wasn't until version 3 that we got the golden token shop. My problem with Lua is that they make raising units a pain in the... Oh yeah, I've heard of that. There's like story lock stuff. Yeah, like from Ameth to current Yang Yang strength, Ameth strength on average is 2.2 million. And Yang Yang's current strength is 2.85 million. So it's a 600 plus K jump, which is a little more than a 25% increase from Ameth's strength, who was already like at the peak kinda with like cart premium and stuff like that. And it's already been like 4 beta versions in Wua's case, and they still haven't gotten rid of it. They've just changed like the multiplier on it, and that's it. So I don't think they want to get rid of it. Like they know it's in there, but they just don't care. The only thing, like I was saying earlier, with Wuwa having like that level of power creep, because Wuwa characters don't have like HSR level vertical investment, it's much harder for Wuwa characters to like keep up with that level of power creep, right? Like for example, you saw earlier, like I said, even if Himeko is stronger than Silverwolf, you get an E1 Yao Guang, you get an E1 Silverwolf, and they're now just back on an even playing field. But like in order for Ameth to catch up to what's it called? Current Yang Yang DPR, premium team versus premium team, Ameth needs like S2 or S3 respectively in order to catch up to Yang Yang DPR now, which is a lot more costly to keep up. And the patch difference between these two isn't that big, you know? Like it's a 4 patch difference between Ameth's release and Yang Yang's release. Four patches, it bad or decent? It's bad. I mean, 4 patches is long in real life. It's like 6 months. But when you consider the pulls you get in Wua, for example, there's not even a guarantee that you could get 3 copies of a limited character after 4 Wua patches. Like, there's no guarantee on that if you're not lucky enough. Which is why something like that is, like, not good, you know? Like, sequences in this game just are not strong enough to keep up with that level of power creep, in my opinion. Alright, chat. I'm gonna end the stream here. I'm getting pretty tired at this point. Love you all. Hope you have a great day. Hope you all have a